You are now tuned in to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, and I'm your host, Lady Charmaine. And as always, I got another great interview for you today. And I'll tell you who it is coming up right after this. My guest today has one of the prettiest voices in gospel music. He is a recording artist, pastor, preacher, teacher, husband, and father. And he is here today to talk about the coronavirus and the effect it is having on his city. Help me welcome to the Lady Charmaine Live Show, my friend, my brother, Mr. J. Moss.
What's up? We in here.
Hey, we in this. This is my friend, my brother, y'all. This is none other than Mr. J. Moss.
What's good, sis? First of all, let's get the pleasantries out.
All
How's
right.
my sister doing? Not the radio personality, not the businesswoman, not the minister. How's my sister doing?
I am doing wonderful. I'm doing great during this whole
Good.
coronavirus shelter in place
I
because
know.
my
I
schedule
know.
hasn't changed. Jay, I'm still just as busy, still just
That's
as
what I've been
sleepy.
saying. I'm like, I'm gonna take a vacation after we all come back.
There
Because
you
all
go.
y'all at home chilling, all my whole staff at home
Right.
chilling, and I'm still working every week. I'm like, this gotta change.
Yeah, look, I'm still working as well, and you got a whole lot going on your plate because, like I said, you got,
Yes.
Jay. I always got to talk about your voice because it's so pretty, and it's just. Now, let me tell you something. Last week, right, I was playing your
Yeah.
song, and one of your songs that I play on my show, especially during this season, is "All
Yeah.
Right, Okay," right.
That's
And
it.
so my
That's it.
husband was listening to it on his way to work. And so he texted me. He said he was so inspired because just during this time, everybody got to know that everything is all right. Everything is okay. Now you got to sing the
Hit it,
rest.
girl.
You got to sing the rest. Because I don't sing like you. But
You hit it
it's,
though. You
see,
hit it. You
I
hit
did
it.
Okay. Oh, coming from the
You did.
professional and everything
You did. You
and
did.
everything. So first off, how's everything going with you? Your church is located in Detroit. Many people don't know that you are a pastor, that you've been a pastor now for a
Yeah.
couple years. I'm so proud of you. So
Yes.
proud of you.
We are going on 4 years. We
Mm.
are, let me tell you something, girl. My whole life is in a whole new place. God just shifted so many things. And becoming pastor, sis, was not on me and Melanie, that's my wife.
Hmm.
It was not on me and her to-do list. Like we were fine. I was assistant pastor under my bishop. We were rolling, we were having a grand old time. And then the Lord just dropped it on us like a ton of bricks. And he was just like, yo, I need y'all to do this for me. And we was like, do what? You want me to put out another record? Okay, cool. I'm ready. It's time to get in the studio anyway. He was like, nah, bro, I'm talking about pastoring. So it just really, really hit us by surprise. But when I tell you, this has been the most gratifying season of my entire life, to be able to be on a level with the people to really understand what they need and how they need to hear a certain message, and to be God's messenger, and to be able to rub shoulders with them and actually help people in
Hmm.
hospitals, help people
Hmm.
in marriages. And I mean, me and Melanie have gone through so much, so we can sit down in front of people and
Hmm.
say, nope, this works, this don't
Right,
work.
right.
And so it's just gratifying to be able to be at this level to help so many people when in my other life they wouldn't be able to access me so much.
Right,
So
right, right.
it's a great time for us. Great time.
Now, what have some of the challenges been if you
Oh
pastoring?
my goodness.
Let's talk about those.
Long hours, girl. And we have about, I would say, anywhere between 2,500. I'm speaking prophetically right there. But we got about 250 to 300.
Okay.
And so every one of the main challenges is everybody thinks it's a one family church. So everybody else going through nothing but you. Ain't nobody else got no problems but you, right? So that's the thing. It's just balancing out and trying to help people understand that, okay, though you just caught me today with a 911, I had three other 911s before you. So
Right.
it's managing all your babies, if you will. That's one of the challenges, but we can get through that because my schedule's always been busy, even since a little kid. Um, but I would say just, I think one of the things that touched my heart the most is I want people to get it,
Mm.
and to see people fall and stumble in certain areas when I know I just taught on that,
Mm-hmm.
my heart just goes out for them or to them, because I'm like, I just taught on that. We just learned the lesson on that. Stay away from him. Stay away from that. Stay away from this or the other. And they fall back into the same thing. So these become, so I think what God has heightened for me is a sensitivity for people. So now
Mm.
I care a whole lot more. So when people hurt, I'm hurting. So he's put that on me. He's put their burden on me a little bit. So when people are going through, when people go through a rough patch, I feel it just like it's my own. So that's something I have to juggle with too. But it's all good. It's all good.
Now, during this time as a pastor, we know that churches are supported by tithing and offerings. How has your
Yeah.
church been affected?
I got the best givers
Hmm.
ever. Like
Okay.
we established a culture with that initially. And I told them at the beginning, and I even said this. I said, God, even as a young child, I said, Lord, if you ever bless me to be a pastor or something like that, because my mom used to speak all the time. She's an evangelist, the whole nine. I said, Dad, if you ever bless me to do that, or if you ever call me to do that, I said, I don't want to be one of these guys up here that's begging for money. I
Hmm.
said, I don't ever want to be that kind of church where we have to spend an hour on giving. And so when we first started our church, and I caught a lot of flack for it, our offering would take 2.5 minutes, literally. And I would just say, hey, give unto your heart, da 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 da. And the culture was built from the beginning. So now we barely even have to, especially now with all this digital stuff, we barely even have to raise offerings because people are just giving during the week. They're just
Hmm.
giving on a random Thursday. We can receive 5 or 10 offerings just from our people. Like these aren't Instagram people, these aren't Facebook people. Our people are just giving because they know that their blessing is tied to the seeds that they sow. So we have a great culture of givers at Living Waters Church.
See, now that's a blessing because during this
Yeah,
time, we know a lot of churches are probably hurting right about now because they may have a small
yeah,
congregation, not a whole lot of money. Some people may have lost their jobs. So I know that's been
yeah,
something that's been very difficult for a lot of people. But during this time, has
yeah.
any of your members been affected by COVID-19?
Oh my goodness, sis. Detroit was one of the hardest hit cities
Hmm.
of this pestilence.
Hmm.
And Michigan, we are now at 33,000 cases.
Hmm.
And we are also at, I think it's 3,000 deaths. I was just looking at it because I wanted to give you the exact, the right number. Yeah, we're at, um, and you can edit all this out, but yeah, we're at about 3,000 deaths, 2,700, and 33,000 cases. And we just lost 2 members in our little tiny church. And when I tell you, everybody knows everybody's families are intertwined. So when I tell you they both passed, they made their transition within 24 hours of each other. And this thing just it hit us like a ton of bricks. And if people didn't know or realize that it was real, they realized it then. I mean,
Hmm.
because we got 2 calls back to back, bam, whatchamacallit's gone, bam, the other one's gone. And it was like, oh my goodness. So this is really, really real. I don't know if you saw the advertisements, but
Hmm.
um, one of my prior bishops, Bishop John Drew Sheard, he just lost his mom, Mother Willa Mae Sheard, to the same thing. And it's just like it's hitting Bishop P.A. Brooks from the Church of God in Christ, who's very intricate in my family.
Hmm.
I mean, so it's just, oh man, it is hitting so close to home now. And I've just been encouraging people. Listen, if you don't have to be in the streets, y'all,
Hmm.
please stay home. We got to get ahead of this before it can get any better,
Right.
before the numbers can really dip and go down, and it
Hmm.
can be a safe environment for us
Right.
again. We got to stay out of its way. That's the only way that this works. And remember, sis, and I know I'm getting long here, but
No, you're
and
fine.
remember, if you get sick, if you go to the hospital, there is no there is no crew of people that can come and sit with you. There's no family that can come and just hang out with you. That's not how it works. You are in the hospital alone. So many people in Detroit are dying alone. Husbands are losing wives, husbands, and they're at home while their wife or husband is in the hospital dying. And we don't even have places to put them. Bodies are in the back of 18-wheeler trucks waiting to be transported to places where we can preserve them. The funeral homes are all packed here. Like this is a real serious deal here. And we're just encouraging everybody, stay home so we can get a handle on this.
Now, I forgot your handle was Inside J Moss. I'm
Yeah,
thinking this is I
yeah.
was trying to find you, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So here I am. I'm on Instagram. I'm like, okay, Jay ain't been posting, right? So then I went to try to call you. Didn't know you changed the number. Called my husband. I said, I ain't heard from Jay. I'm serious. I started panicking. I said, I think he might have a Rona. Because when I heard about Marvin and BB and Mom Winans, I said, I think he got the Rona. So I told my girl
Jay ain't got
Marie,
the Rona.
I
He
said,
ain't got it.
I ain't heard from Jay. I think he got the Rona,
Ooh,
right? And
girl,
so that's why I hit
girl.
up PDA because I'm like, wait a
Mm,
minute, I'm trying to reach Jay.
yeah,
And I found
yeah,
you when you hit me
yeah.
back. I was so happy. I was like, whoo, he ain't got
Yes,
the Rona. He fine. You told me you been in the house for a
yes.
month. You were good. Because
Girl,
I
girl.
did. I was like, I ain't seen him post nothing. I'm all on the wrong
Yeah.
page. But
Yeah,
I'm
you on
glad
the
you're
wrong
good.
page. No,
Yeah.
we've been hitting it. We were one of the first churches to actually close here in Detroit. Like
Mm.
I didn't play with this thing. It was almost as if the Holy Spirit was just leading me through the whole thing. And I told my people, I'm getting y'all out of the way of this. I believe it's something serious. I believe it's going to escalate,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sending y'all home.
Mm.
And it's been so good. And God reminded me that He'll sustain you. If you just
Mm-hmm.
listen to Him, He'll sustain you. When I tell you, sis, we ain't missed a bill yet. We
Mm.
ain't had to call none of our creditors and say, hey, can we get another week? Our people have been doing what they've supposed to do. We have had support unlimited. And that I'm not bragging here. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
blessing to be able to hear the voice of God, move on it, and then realize that He'll cover you in the process. It's wonderful.
So, how did you feel when you were hearing that some pastors didn't even want to close their churches? They were still trying to hold service, and I even heard there was this one pastor who's demanding that his members give him all of their stimulus money. As a
Oh,
shepherd, how do you feel
man.
about that?
The reason why I believe God is shaking the world up
Hmm.
is because He got tired of the foolishness.
Hmm.
That's just me. Now, this is just how
Right.
the Holy Spirit is dealing with me. When somebody shakes something up, they're expecting it to change.
Hmm.
So I believe that God is allowing a lot of this to happen where people are just polluting ministry for their
Hmm.
own justifications, for their own comforts, for their own selfish desires. And
Right.
it just made me so mad. Now, I understand some churches um, that's your bread and butter. I get it. You got bills, especially some of these mammoth,
Hmm.
edifices and things like that. You got to kind of keep things going because of certain business reasons. I get it. But when this thing actually hit its height, everybody should have been at home. And for the people that had stayed along, they just hurt my heart because I'm like, dude, you may be okay
Right.
because your wing of the church is off in the back or around the corner somewhere. But the general public have to be out there amongst each other, sitting next to each other. Ain't no 6 feet right here. They're hugging. And if you anything like our church, the reason why we had to close is because one of the mandates is if you come in my church, you got to get 6 hugs before you go home. So we couldn't do it. So I was like, somebody's gonna mess around and get really, really hurt by this thing. So when I heard it and when I saw it, I was angry. Even some of my brothers I called and I said, man, you gotta stop. You
Hmm.
got to send these people home
Hmm.
because you're putting them in harm's way. And that's not the responsible thing to do. But I understood for some of our bigger ministries, I understood that they had to, in some form or way, try to keep things going with the small amount of people as they could. I get it.
Because I know there was a church here in California. They had 5 members ended up getting
Yeah.
coronavirus, and then 2 ended up dying. And then there was another church here, 71 of their
See,
members ended up getting the
see.
virus. Hmm.
And sis, they said one person can infect 40. Well,
Mm.
do the math. If one can infect 40, how
Whew.
many can 40 infect? It's like, come on, guys, do the simple math here. It's just
Right.
exponential, you know, multiplicity, if you will. It's like, come on, this is not a game. I just did a PSA on it. It's all on my pages. And I was just trying to encourage people.
I
Listen,
loved it. That was a
you,
beautiful PSA.
thank you so much.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking about my mothers, like my mom, my wife's mom. They're susceptible. Like I may have a strong immune system. Sis, you
Hmm.
may have one. My wife may have one. Your husband, your kids. But what about the people who don't?
Right.
Like we still got to go see grandma. We still got
Right.
to go see our seniors. We still got to make sure they got groceries. And if you walking the virus up into their houses, they don't stand a chance. Their
Right.
body is going to respond differently from this.
Hmm.
So we just have to be responsible and just, even if not for your own life, do it for somebody else's.
True. Now, you know, I've told you before, I want to hear all the pretty voices come together. I want to hear you, Jonathan McReynolds, and Jesse Campbell. I got to hear the pretty voices now. All three of y'all. Y'all sing like birds, in the morning. Y'all twilly
Stop
dilly
it.
in
Stop it.
in the
They
morning.
sing like birds, girl. I've been doing all this preaching and hollering. My voice almost gone. Let me tell you something.
Now, Jay, I've seen some of them
Yes.
little videos you going into worship. After come on now, come on, you still got it,
I
my
hit a little
friend.
something. I hit a little something, but hey, if you calling me to come sing at your stuff, and whatever it is, I'm only doing 2 or 3 songers now. Them concerts, that day is over.
Oh no, 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 no. We we,
I only
we
got
gotta have
about
about
two or
four,
three
five, or six.
songs in me.
I look, brother. I got a playlist. You hear me? I got a J
See,
Moss
look at you.
playlist.
See, I gotta start doing like some of my buddies. Like I gotta start starting. I gotta bring a crew with me, and I'll start the song, and then I'll let
Hmm.
them finish it, so I can
Oh, with the
preserve my
microphone.
voice throughout the
You
concert.
sing.
Yeah,
Oh, you want to?
you
Don't
sing.
you?
Come here,
Uh-uh.
girl. Finish this for
We
me.
paid to
Finish
hear
"We Must
you
Praise"
sing.
for me.
And then you got to have some energy because I got to hear my song I want to be. So you got to get your dance steps now.
Oh
Got
my
to get your
goodness,
there you
girl.
go. Come
I
on now. You
wouldn't
got
even
to
be able to get through a half of "Wannabe" right
dust the
now.
knees off. I got to hear I want to be. I got some songs. I got a list now. You know I'm a J Moss fan.
That's
Don't play
so
with me.
funny. All right, I got it. I got it.
So who would be a person that you would love to do a duet with?
Oh man, just so many people. I just did a record with PJ Morton, and we just, oh my goodness,
My daughter love him.
we have with that song. And it's going to come out soon. It's very, very timely for now, the lyrical content and then the melody. He's very melodious anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So he, wow, it was a great thing. I did some on stage stuff with Jonathan McReynolds. It was really, really fun. Actually, I was at his
Did
concert
you?
when it came to Detroit for the
Mm.
tour. And he just started on his little guitar. He started playing "We Must Pray." So I'm just like, oh man, please don't play that. So of course I'm at home in my home city. Everybody was like, dude, you cannot not, because I'm
That's
one of
you.
those, don't give me the mic. If you want to keep your show, don't give me the mic. I wasn't raised like that. Like you give me the mic, I'm going for it. It's gonna turn into my show. I'm telling you. So like we don't play them games in Detroit. Like go on and have your
Hmm.
concert, do your thing. But it was fun though. He actually played the song. He started the verse off. So we came out and did it together, and it was just great. The people love seeing those two similar
Hmm.
voices on
Hmm.
stage at the same time. So yeah, yeah. I mean, all these newcomers out here, these I call them the young whippersnappers.
Hmm.
They are killing.
They are.
They are killing, and I'm loving them all. I'm loving them all.
Well, since you already let me know, because see, I had already told Jonathan that he need to do a song with you. Then I text
Yeah, that's
you
my
after I
man. Yeah,
talked
we're
to
gonna do
Jonathan.
something.
So
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the song,
yeah.
and I better get the first one. Y'all better send it
Okay,
to me. I'm not playing. I need the pretty
okay.
voices.
We're gonna Jonathan and I gonna probably have to do a quarantine song. Something for quarantine that we do when he got a couple free minutes and me too, and we just gonna start just freestyling, and then we're just
Yeah,
gonna put it out
because
just
he
like
been on
that.
Instagram doing all kind of interviews. He been on Instagram
Right,
lighting it up. So
right,
y'all just
right.
gonna hook that up. Let us sister know.
Yep,
Y'all gonna do like a
yep,
baby
yep,
face and
yep.
the Teddy Riley, but y'all's gonna go right though. Y'all's gonna go right.
And you so silly. That's funny. That's funny. You know what I love about John is and people and I hope the musical people hear me and don't get offended by this next statement. Jonathan is one of the few who will call me and say, Jay, I just want to say thank you. And I'm like, boy, what you calling me talking about thank you for? I ain't did nothing. He's like, thank you for paving the way for vocalists and singers like me. He said,
Mhm.
and he would say that to like me and PDA, if we're in front of him, he'll walk up to us and say, hey, if it wasn't for y'all style of music, artists like me wouldn't have a chance today. So people like you and Kirk and others who are heavy contemporary artists, like he would actually say it to us. And
Mm.
that goes a long way.
Mhm.
That humility,
Mhm.
that honor that's why he's so blessed now, because he doesn't hold back on his honor and respect to. I was like that. I would always walk up to I call him Peanut, but Pastor Marvin Wine,
Mhm.
respect, Donnie McClurkin, others. I would always walk up to them, James Cleveland, Walter Hawkins. I just give them big hugs and say thank you,
Right.
because if it wasn't for y'all, there'd be no J Moss. So thank you. I would see Bishop Paul Morton, and I'd run up to him in the airport and say, "Can I carry your bags, Bishop?" because God blesses that honor and that humility. Jesus said they'll know you are attached to me by the love that you show one to another. So that honor, love, and respect goes a long way. If you walk in humility, God will open up the windows of heaven on your life.
Wow. So that's why God's blessing you, I see.
Thank you.
That's why you being
If
all blessed and stuff.
if I
God's
if I was
using
any
you.
more blessed, if I was any more blessed, I'd have to pinch myself and say, "Wake up." My wife and I were talking about that, and almost to the point of tears. I
Mm,
think it was yesterday morning, and we were just like, "We're just not hurting right now." A lot of pastors are
mhm,
hurting. They're trying to figure out what are we going to do, how are we going to pay these bills. Tuesday is my payday at Living Waters Church, not mine, but when we roll out payroll for our musicians and people, I gave them all bonuses today. That's how much support we're getting in. And I'm just like, y'all here. I know y'all ain't been to work in over a month, but I'm just gonna give you something to
mm.
refill back up your refrigerator, put some gas in your tank, and that's how I believe Melanie and I have been so blessed because we don't hold back from giving and sharing to others. So the key is in your giving, not your receiving. The key is in what you give out.
So before we go, what's a word that you want to leave with the people today?
Well, sis, you hit me up. You hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you because you're always so classy. You've always been so supportive. You've always been respectful to me. And even when you didn't agree with me, you would say, "Bro, well, I don't agree with that, but I get it." And I
Mm-hmm.
love that about you because we can agree to disagree and still have a healthy love relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And you hit me up and you said some of the people in the area were wondering, well, what happened on the day I was supposed to come to SAC? Okay. And I prayed about it. I said, Lord, do I touch on this a little bit or do I leave it alone because it's a dead issue? But okay, if the people want to know, I love the people, so I'm gonna give them a little something. First of all, I apologize to the people of Sacramento that were hurt and offended and felt like they were mishandled in any way. That was never my intent. Um, when I was heavy into doing tours and being on the road, everything you all have to understand it's a lot of business that goes into it. And you got the management, you got the label, you got the management office, then you got the road managers, and it's so many layers before things even get to me. I'm not running away from it. I'm just saying they look out for the artist's best interest. And from my understanding, there was supposed to be some business handled, and it wasn't before we actually left Detroit. Now, y'all know y'all 5 hours away from me in the air. So we said, okay, now we're gonna come anyway. We know
Mm-hmm.
this business isn't handled right now, but we're gonna come to Sacramento anyway
Mm-hmm.
on good faith that you're gonna work it out when we land. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time we land, hopefully it's worked out. Well, we landed, and needless to say, it wasn't handled like they promised us. And so my management, myself, we had to make a decision. Do we go or do we not? And see, what I want people to understand is we've said, okay, let's do it so many times,
Mm-hmm.
and then ended up at the end of the night and the business wasn't handled at all.
Right.
So it's like, oh man, do we do it and get burned? We're so
Right.
far away from home, like, oh my goodness, or do we follow our first mind? And the Bible says, in business be men. So it was one of those situations where we made the call to say, hey, you didn't hold up on your end. We gotta cancel. So but I didn't mean to do the people any harm. I apologize to you guys. If you would have me back, I will come and give y'all a huge concert. I want to come back and do this because that's going on too long. I love you guys. You guys have supported me for so many years. And listen, we got to do this thing again the right way and go on and have a good old pajam J Moss session in the city of Sacramento. So that
Woohoo!
was pretty much it in a nutshell. And I thank you, sis, for upholding me as much as you could, but it's business. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
in business, people get hurt. But I
Right.
never meant to hurt you guys. And I apologize if anyone was offended.
And I have to speak on my friend's
Mm,
account. Everything he said
yeah.
is true. I knew everything that was going on. A lot of
Yeah.
people didn't know that I knew Jay, so
Yeah.
I was in the thick of that. No,
Yeah. You
but
were.
I was
You
able to
were.
see both sides, so I knew what was going on. And people don't know I was
Yeah.
even talking to you. Probably remember we were talking
Yeah.
when you were on your way
Yeah.
to the airport to fly to
Yeah.
California, and then when you
Yeah.
got here, things weren't the way they were
Still
supposed
wasn't
to
right.
be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still wasn't right, and many people do not know, Jay, this part. They didn't know that you were supposed to have actually came previously. This was the
Yeah.
second time you were supposed to come. It wasn't right
Right.
then.
It
And
still
so
wasn't
that's why you
right.
didn't come. So,
Exactly.
but this time you were coming on good faith. That's why I'm speaking up for Jay. He was coming in on good faith the
On
second
good
time,
faith.
and he landed
Yep.
in California, but it still wasn't right. So that's what I wanted everybody to know. I couldn't speak out publicly about it because this was his concert, but everything he's saying is correct. And so,
Sis, and
mhm.
I want your people to know that she wasn't just on my side to be on my side. I want you all to know that your girl there, Lady Charmaine, she is definitely a woman of integrity because where she felt I was wrong and where I needed to speak up or say something, she told me. She said, Jay, I think you need to say this or do that. And then on the other things where she agreed with me, she agreed with me. But it wasn't one of those things where she just sided with me because we were friends. She's a woman of integrity and she had you all's best interests at heart. So I just wanted to let your listeners know that you, though you walked with me through that hurtful situation, you still were fair and just in it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
everybody, this is my friend Jay Moss. And if you're ever in
Yes,
Detroit, when the
yes.
world and our
When the world
country,
reopens, oh my goodness, in 2022,
right? Y'all make sure is the lighthouse, is it say right? Lighthouse?
it is Living Waters
Living
Church.
Waters.
Living Waters Church. Just look me up online. We're and Living Waters. I don't know where you got Lighthouse from.
I don't
Living
know.
Waters Church.
Wait a minute. I'm going to put the information up here so people can actually see it. Everyone is right there. It's Living Waters Church right there in
That's it.
Detroit,
Yeah.
Michigan.
In Detroit,
Y'all make
Michigan.
sure
Yep.
y'all go and check my brother out. It's been a
You
few
almost got to
years.
break this. You almost got to break this interview up into two parts because I know we just went off on some tangents, but we had so much to catch up on. We
And
had
we
so
do.
much to
And
catch
then
up
off
on.
the air, we got a few more things because we talked about some stuff before.
Right. See?
So,
See? Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
we got a few things to get
Exactly.
because it's been a minute. So God has been
Right.
blessing him.
It
I'm
has.
so thankful. I had to find out what was going on there in Detroit. I want to say to you, Jay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. When we had our California Paradise Fire a year ago, you checked up on me to make
Wow.
sure me and my family was straight. So I wanted to say thank you for
Yeah.
that. And I love
Absolutely.
you for that.
Absolutely.
Love your family. And I'm so glad for
Love
what
you
God
too.
is doing in your life. And I look forward definitely to having you back on the
Thank you.
show. Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
my
you.
friend, he goes by the name of Jay Moss. Thank you for coming on the show.
Jay Mason.